Undiscovered Prospects University, episode 2, okay, all about failure. For those that don't know, I'm Thomas Evans, Coach Red. Undiscovered Prospects is what I created to increase the mental game for baseball players nowadays. I feel like the mental game is what changed my life, changed my career, okay, what ultimately led me to be an All-American, okay? Created this to help others accomplish the same goals, right? Coach at travel, coach in college now, trying to give the next generation the things that literally changed my life, right? All the keys that changed my life, because Yogi Berra says the game is 90% mental, 10% physical. Well, if that's the case, like I always say, why do we not work more on mental? But it takes a certain lens, thought to accomplish that, okay? Are you struggling mid-season? Have you started the season not how you wanted to? Well, look, we need to find a way to change that. We need to attack the mental game. I created a free, completely free pregame routine that I used, right, to become an All American, and that I'm giving away for free. All you have to do is go to my website and enter your email on the main page, and I will email the free pregame routine that led me to be an All American back to you. Now, enjoy the rest of the episode. So, episode 2 is all about failure. How can we control our failures in baseball? So, as you can see up here, we got failure is inevitable. You cannot control failure, right? You're going to succeed, you're going to fail. It's the balance of life. You can't have one without the other. You can't have the good without the bad. So, how do we overcome that? Well, it's rooted in that sentence right there. Failure is inevitable. You cannot control that, okay? Your perspective of failure is what you can control. Your perspective of life is what you can't control. Now, one of the guys that really ingrained this in me, there's really two guys, but the one guy who had the thought that ingrained this in me was Mike Rashid, and he said, only good things happen to me. Life does not happen to me, it happens for me, right? And that's just a perspective, because life is just about perspective. So as a baseball player, you have to understand failure is inevitable. You cannot control the fact that you fail. You can control the fact of how you view your failure. Is it a lesson or is it pain? Is it a lesson or do you view yourself as a bad player? Right? I chose the former, the more positive, optimistic mindset, because in life, why would you not choose the optimistic mindset, right? So just moving along here. Is a strikeout a lesson or are you a bad player? You choose how you view it. Now, when I became an All-American, when I created that outcomes that I wanted, that I always viewed in my head, those results were based in the optimistic, positive thinking. I struck out, I learned from it, I'd go get the next at bat, right? Often when you strike out, the other team feels like they have a way to beat you. I saw that as, okay, I know how they're going to pitch me next at bat. It's a lesson. No one wants to strike out, but you use that as a lesson. Bobbling a ball in the outfield, is that a lesson or am I a bad player? It's a lesson, right? I probably fundamentally did something wrong. I could have read the ball better, got there better. Now, how you view that is up to you. Right? If you let your coach dictate how you view that outcome, your coach might be someone who gets mad at you, right? Or he doesn't give you a response, so you don't know how he feels. If you let the thought of what you think he thinks dictate how you think, you're not in control. You control your perspective. So regardless of what happens, you got to control your perspective. Striking out, it's a lesson. Bowling a ball, it's a lesson, okay? The next thing we have to understand here with failure is that life moves in cycles, and we learn about these cycles as we grow up constantly. We learn about spring, summer, fall, winter, the cycle of the seasons. We have, wake up in the morning, we have the afternoon, we have the evening, we have the night. Every day, it cycles through those cycles. And then on the grand scheme of things, we're all born, we all live, and eventually we all die, right? So life itself moves through cycles. What am I getting at here? They say baseball is like life. Baseball is no different. Cycles. Everything is a cycle, okay? Just how just how you succeed and fail is the same type of cycle as any other cycle in life, right? You're going to succeed, you're going to slow down, you're going to fail, you're going to be cold, you're going to speed up, you're going to start feeling good, you're going to be on fire. That is the one thing that is constant in baseball, that cycle, that ebb and flow. Heating up, on fire, losing feeling of being on fire, in the slump. I used to play with someone in college, at Hilbert College, where I became All-American. I got Jober, man, and I can't take credit for this because Jober was the one that, ingrained this, seed of thought into my head. And it's the cycle of hitting, right? Everyone has the feeling like they're starting to figure it out. Then you're like, oh, I gotta figure it out. And then you're on fire, right? You have like a string of games where, you feel like you can't get out, or you feel like you can't hit a ball, wrong. You're squaring every ball. And then inevitably you start losing that feeling. And then you start dipping down, and then you're cold. You're in a place where you feel like you can't, you couldn't buy a hit. You couldn't square up a ball if they paid you. If your life depended on it, whatever the case may be. And that cycle of hitting, the ebb and flow of that roller coaster is inevitable. And the best players, they say, can do it 3 out of 10. They can work through that cycle, and MLB Hall of Famer do it 3 out of 10. Lower levels, I high school, college, you should be able to do 4 out of 10. That should be your goal, 4 out of 10. And how can I work through this cycle quicker and quicker and quicker? Because that's the goal. The best players are able to make adjustments on the fly, where in that cycle, you're on fire. Obviously, you start losing the feeling, and then you're cold, right? And then you're starting to ask coaches. You're starting to look at video. You're starting to ask everyone for their opinion. What can I do? What do you see? How can I fix it? Well, the best players in the world can make that adjustment in one pitch. They don't need to spend days, weeks trying to figure out how to get out of this slump. And that's ultimately where I, progressed in my career. I became my own coach, and I could make adjustments on the fly. And the better you get as a player, the better your adjustments are, and the quicker your adjustments are. And it's working through this cycle, right? How do I fail and succeed as quick as possible? How do I learn from my failure, right? Because I changed my perspective. I see failure as a lesson, an opportunity to grow. How do I take that opportunity and succeed from it as quickly as possible, just like a pro? Now, I believe the better you can get at being in the moment, being accepting of the moment, recognizing where you are in your cycle, the shorter the cycle becomes, the more success you can touch, the more success you can have, right? So basically what I'm talking about here is if I could strike out, now me personally, let's go back, right? Me personally as a player, I was the type of kid, I should say, when I was younger. I would strike out my first at bat, and that would probably mean I got out 2 more times. I'd probably strike out 2 more times, maybe. I definitely probably would have an 0 for 3 day if I started the game with a strikeout. Maybe not, but that was how that roller coaster of emotion would lead me to dictate my outcomes, right? I'd face a team that throw a lot of curveballs. I'd be like, I'm just going to wait for a fastball. I'd never get one. So if I am in the moment, and I recognize they pitched me 3 straight curveballs, and I struck out on 3 straight curveballs, that the next at bat I'm probably going to get a curveball. Don't expect a fastball. That's making an adjustment and carrying a positive perspective to adapt into my next at bat on the fly, and doing that in the moment. So if I'm in the moment, pitch by pitch, I can make adjustments and therefore get better for my next at bat, and not struggle the entire game, come away from that game thinking I'm a bad player, and then carrying that into the next game where I struggle, and then the next game and I struggle, and eventually I'll get out of it. But that was like a week long, 2 weeks long, when I want to make that adjustment, like I said, now. And that comes to the mindset of carrying an optimistic, positive mindset about your failure, right? You got to overcome failure. You can't have a fear of failure. Fear of failure is lack. I don't lack anything. I have the ability to perceive everything as an opportunity. Second thing I don't like, They say baseball is a game of failure. Baseball is a game of endless opportunity. Let me add that in. I think that's fitting. They say baseball is a game of failure. I see the game of baseball as endless opportunities. Now, glass half full, glass half empty. You could say that baseball is a game of failure because, yes, you fail 7 out of 10 times, you succeed 3 out of 10 times to be a Hall of Famer, quote unquote. But you could also see that if you're going to fail 7 times to succeed 3, you're going to get 10 opportunities. So you're always going to have opportunities. Baseball is a game of endless opportunity. That's the glass half full approach, okay? Optimistic, positive mindset. Failure ultimately is controlled by your mindset. I can't say it enough. I'd now like to break up this video with a advertisement for my 2 digital ebooks at undiscoveredprospects.com. 4 corners of hitting fundamentals, 5 transformational pillars of hitting, $28 for the one, $20 for the other, $50. What is $50? $50 is not as much as you spend on gear. $50 is not as much as a $150 wood bat. It's not as much as the cleats, right? What does $50 get you? It gets you everything that took me from a good player to a great player, from a good player to an All-American player, right? Undiscoveredprospects.com. It took me from a 387 average to a 411, right? 28 games played to 44 games played. Look at those at-bats, difference. Obviously, I was playing better. 21 runs to over double, 59 runs scored, doubled my hits, almost doubled my doubles. No triples, 5 triples. 3 home runs to 12 home runs, doubled my RBIs, slugged it way better, right? Walked more, got on base more, 1 out of every 2 times. Every other at-bat I was getting on base, right? And I stole the bases very well, so I was a run producer, run scorer, everything you want to do in a career, right? What are you getting in these ebooks? You're getting the 4 things that made me an All-American hitter: the coil, scap loading, hands, timing, then bonus content, detail about the process. The process will lead you into the 5 transformational pillars of hitting, right? How to coach yourself, how to have better pitch selection, how to have better pattern recognition, how to make mental cues, mental framework for physical training, right? Because that's essential to being a great baseball player. Bonus, I give you a 4-month mastery, how to use all of these things in 4 months to go from where you're at right now to a better place in the future, right? So why not? Why not buy these 2 ebooks? What's stopping you from being a better player? $50, not as much as those cleats, man. Okay, so what's the evolution? Like we said, a 3-4-5 game slump is turned into 1 bad game. Eventually, 1 bad game is turned into 1 bad at bat, right? And I'm not looking at it from the lens of whether I got 1 hit or no hit or 2 hit or no hit. It's going about the game the right way. Am I barreling balls? Am I swinging at strikes? The things we can control, because we always want to focus on the things we can control. Now, I gave you the mental side of it, like in theory, right? Well, how can you do this? How can you take what I said and apply it? Well, this is how I applied it for myself, like stumbling through all these thoughts, and I want to package this in a way for you to understand. I love breaking things down to the root. And when you break it down to the root, it gives you the ability to walk away with something that's understandable. And this is the process I used to best operate moment to moment when I became an All-American, my All-American season where I hit 400. I hit double-digit home runs, double-digit doubles. The confidence was through the roof constantly, and it was exactly what I envisioned myself of always being able to do as a baseball player. So in order to operate moment to moment and control your mindset about failure and be optimistic and have a positive mindset, we need to have steps, and that starts with preparing. You must prepare, okay? And I've gone over this in other short form videos, but this is the first time I'll go over it in a long form video. You must prepare. Now, preparation becomes before the game, okay? preparation becomes days, weeks, months in advance before the game. Whether that's working out, working on your swing, even it's a day before a game, it's a tune-up, right? But once we get to game day, right? Because game day is the day. That's the day we all want to play, all want to come to us. Is game day, and once it's here, preparation is no longer. All we have left to do is organize. Now, organize is organizing yourself to allow the success to happen. You must organize your thoughts. You must organize your gear so you have everything. You must organize everything to lower anxiety. Organize your mind, like David Goggins said in the one video. He said if your mind is flying, having all these anxious thoughts, it's like a two-car garage, and you're trying to fit two cars in there when there's no room to park a car. You have to organize yourself. You have to organize your gear. Okay, I got everything. Organize your food. Okay, I got some snacks. Okay, organize your thought. Breathe, relax. Okay, visualize your success before it happens. Okay, don't be on social media. That's not organizing. That's adding to the clutter. Organize yourself before the game. You get to the field. Okay, take your time. Stretch on your own before you stretch as a team. Okay, make sure you have everything where you want it. Okay, make sure you got the pine tar on the bat, whatever the cases may be. Organize yourself, and then once you prepare and organize, and you get to the game, and you hear the national anthem, and the game starts, and you're on the field, it's time to execute. And the only thing you can think about is creating room for success to execute. Breathe, relax. You can't change your whole swing. You can't bring something. If you forgot something at home, you can't make it magically appear. All you have now to do is execute. And whether you now that you execute and you succeed or you fail, that leaves the last thing, which is reflection. And when you reflect, you can reflect in a positive way, or you can reflect in a negative way, right? Am I a bad player, or is this a lesson I can learn from? Okay. Did I swing at strikes? Yes. Did I not hit the ball how I want? Yes. Okay, I can't, I can control whether I swing at strikes or balls, but sometimes it's not always, you might have just missed the ball, and that's what it is, right? But if you swung at balls and you didn't swing at strikes, now you can say, look, I can control that. I need to get better. I need to swing at strikes, right? That's why you reflect. You reflect on many things at bats. You can reflect on games. You can reflect on weeks, right? All of these can be done on a small scale and a large scale. They can be done day by day. They can be done week by week. They can be done month by month. Prepare, organize, execute, reflect. Now, wrapping up here, the key with all of this, right, is if you create a process where you can positively, optimistically view failure, learn from it, have the glass half full approach, you create that process, you define how something happens or doesn't happen. You're able to say, this is why it happened, this is why it didn't happen. And for me personally, why I love that is because I don't like leaving anything up to chance. And like it says here, no process, you leave it to chance or luck, and that never feels earned, always feels wishy-washy. When you know how you succeed, you can do more of what makes you succeed. When you know how you fail, you can do less of what makes you fail and counteract that with things that make you succeed. When you don't know why you succeed or why you fail, you leave it to luck or chance, and it never feels like you truly know how to do it, right? And you want to know how to do it. You want to know that 2 + 2 = 4. And that's black and white, and you can understand that. And it's the same way in baseball, right? Because it's all about perception of failure. How to control your failures in baseball? You control your mindset, you control your perception, and you will become a better baseball player from doing that. The younger you do it, the quicker, the more you can grow. Mental side of the game, Yogi Berra said once again, 90% mental, 10% physical. That's just that's an MLB legend. What do I know? Undiscovered Prospects. Discover yourself so the world can discover you. Okay? Play to win. Thomas Evans, Coach Red. Catch you on the next one.